Yay!
Yay!
You're already laughing. This is already good.
It's going to be a funny show.
It is going to be a funny show. Happy April 1st, everybody. And welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 253. We're getting up there.
Yeah.
Great. I was like, we got to hit that. If we don't hit that, we're failing. Happy April 1st. This is a wonderful day. We love celebrating the 1st of April every single year. If you haven't already seen, there's a new video on the channel where I get to review my reviews. It gets quite meta.
It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you guys check it out. But tonight, to take April 1st to the next level, we are being joined by Ultrarunning Memes, the Instagram account. That is all I'll say for now. I'm so excited about this show. I've legitimately been looking forward to this episode for weeks.
I am already laughing at the questions that are coming in. There's some parental advice questions coming in.
A huge part of the show, I have zero doubt, is going to be your viewer questions for our guest tonight. Because one, they are an expert in everything ultra running. They are an expert in everything parenting, life. They can provide you with the information that you need to solve any of your problems. I promise you. Because Ultrarunning Memes has given us nothing but joy since inception, just over a year ago. They're almost celebrating their 1-year anniversary. So it's going to be awesome to have them on the show tonight. Here we go, everyone. Ginger Runner Live, episode number 253, with our guest, Ultrarunning Memes, begins now.
Ginger Runner.
Yay! What is up, everyone? Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 253. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy Mondays to spend a little bit of it with us. Happy April 1st, a wonderful day that we like to celebrate each and every year with some fun.
I'd say you like to celebrate more than I like to
Kim hates
celebrate.
it.
My morning started off with you telling me all my garden tools got stolen last night.
Did you say that now? And I look back and go, that was really dumb. What a dumb April Fool's joke. Oh, good morning, Kim. Your garden tools were stolen. Were they? No. Super let down. On tonight's show, I cannot believe it. We get Ultrarunning Memes. Ultrarunning Memes is joining us on tonight's Ginger Runner Live. Yes, I am serious. The famous Instagram account that over the last year has grown to over 30,000 followers. Probably one of the biggest growths in the sport as far as Instagram account numbers and stuff like that. That account has provided me with so much joy over the last year. And like my friends can attest to this. Other ultra runners can attest to this. It's been so fun. And we actually have Ultrarunning Memes on the show tonight.
Yeah. And listen, we were just at a race this weekend and there was multiple people talking about this Instagram account there as well.
It has permeated into the ultra running culture. People are constantly referencing different images and different memes that this account has created. So we'll talk all about those on tonight's show. But of course, we are live. And if you are in the live chat room or joining us just now to catch Ultrarunning Memes on Ginger Runner Live, this is a real thing. You can jump into the chat room, right?
Yeah, what's up, you guys? My name is Kim, and we are live. We do have our wonderful guest here, looking a little different than some of our guests in the past. But if you guys do have questions for Ultrarunning Memes, please pop them into the chat room.
And before we introduce Ultrarunning Memes, so weird. We have some individuals that we like to thank. Of course, at the top of every show, we have to thank our Patreon supporters. They are the reason that we are able to do live shows, reviews, films, travel, do races, all sorts of that type of thing. So big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. The top tier in particular, the 3 individuals up there just are incredibly gracious, and we'd like to give them a shout out at the beginning of every Ginger Runner Live. Rick Bjarnason and his team at cheekymonkeymedia.ca. They're a web design company. They redid the entire gingerrunner.com website. Just wonderful humans and a great team. Rick is an ultra runner and just crushed chucking at 50K, training for a couple big hundreds up in Canada. Brian Sands, a wonderful human being who's been a longtime supporter, incredible fitness journey, lost over 100 pounds, ran his first marathon, ran his first 50K, training for his first 50 miler. Just a wonderful human and super inspiring to both us and our entire community. So big shout out to Brian. And Chris Lee in Hong Kong does a wonderful job of showcasing the trails around the Hong Kong area through his organization Trailblazer. So big shout out to Chris and that whole organization. Is because of them we're able to do this. So thank you, 3 individuals. I think it's time.
I think it is time because the questions are rolling in like crazy.
It was inevitable.
And I think everybody's waiting for the big reveal to see if we've been like April fooling people. Everybody.
No, I promise you, we have not. So without further ado, all the way from wherever they're coming from, Ultrarunning Memes.
Yay!
Hey.
How are you?
Guys, let me just say I'm honored to be episode number 253. It's a very special number, so it's just thank you for being here. My flat earth to yours.
It's a very special number. 253 to us it's about 252 episodes better than the first one. So
it's true.
I appreciate that.
We appreciate you. So first of all, who are you? Can you give away your identity? Everyone's going to want to know.
Question on the feed. Yeah. No, I'm just just a normal guy out here making memes, trying to run, just living my best life.
So we know he's a guy. We're already cutting it down.
You've narrowed it down to male.
There might be a filter on the voice. It could be. You know what? It's Casey Lichtai. Yeah. I bet it is. I bet this is Casey Lichtai. I know it. So I mean, first of all, man, what you've created, or woman, what you've created is a wonderful way for this sport not to take itself so seriously. And so I wanted to just come out right off the bat and just say thank you for doing what you're doing. You're entertaining, I mean, tens of thousands of people. Was that your intention? Like, what really got you to start this thing? And did you expect it to be what it is?
Yeah, I guess to answer the last question first, I mean, definitely no. I think, my friends and I, we would have a group chats and I'd make memes and send them to them and they'd laugh. And eventually, if you're following Last Horse Runners, I was starting to post them in the stories on there, and I just started kind of cranking them out. And so one of my friends, Kristen Parker, said, "All right, you've got to stop doing this because this is getting out of control. I've set up an account for you. Here's the login. Here's the password. Just post them there." So kind of when I got going, it was hilarious. So in the first week, I hit 100 followers, and I was like, "Dude, it's like there's 100 followers on this account. This is insane right now." So it's sort of hilarious for me to see where this thing's going.
So just listen, there's a lot of people guessing your identity right now in the chat room. Multiple people are saying it's Sage Candidate. I think Sage has those guitars on the wall. Yeah, there's been guesses for possible. Anton. Multiple people saying it's Sage.
People think it's Anton too?
Anton, Mick Jagger.
Oh yeah,
of course. Yeah.
I think if it was Mick Jagger, we'd go, "Hey, we have Mick Jagger on the show," rather than an Instagram account. Yeah, I don't think Anton has the time for this. He's
a lot of Sage guesses.
Yeah, I'm slightly more robust than Anton at the moment. So I could stand to lose a few pounds possibly.
So I mean, let's touch on that a little bit. You mentioned Last Horse Runners. Can you give us every one of your images has a little tag, and I dug deep. I was like, who are Last Horse Runners? Who are these people? What is it? Is it a running crew? Is it your crew? Is it you? Is your last name Horse? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So if you're, familiar with, there's certain ultras and races that actually have a prize for the last runner. These are called last horse in the barn, last mule in the barn, something to that effect. So, a few years back, my friends and I just kind of came up with this concept of, it's fun, and it kind of ties into the theme of the memes as well. It's let's celebrate everybody that's out there. Let's connect people. And so what I found early on in ultra running is that I'd show up at races and not know anybody. And so I don't know if you guys are probably pretty outgoing, but a lot of runners are not. So a lot of runners are standing around, not talking to anybody, and they're pretty introverted, honestly. So I was going to races. I'm like, man, it'd be sweet if I could go run an ultra and actually know 5 or 6 people there. So we created Last Horse Runners, and that was really the goal, is to kind of connect people, and people will do kind of shout outs. Here's the races I'm running this year, and people will start making these connections in the comments on Instagram. So it's been a lot of fun. So that's when I do go to races, people are like, man, thank you. I've met some of my best friends through Last Horse. It's just a lot of fun.
I mean, it's amazing what this community is, because it's trail runners, ultra runners. You get you get little digs at road runners and stuff like that too. But this larger community has found a bunch of wonderful little smaller communities: the Ginger Runner Live community, the people who view the show, and Last Horse Runners and that community, and then now the Ultrarunning Memes community. Like, it's
Right.
really neat, all this overlap, and it is great to see the support systems that these, while they're funny, specifically
Mhm.
yours, while it's
Sure.
funny and uplifting and something you can just kind of scroll through in the middle of the night,
Right.
it is also something that has bonded people together.
Mhm.
We paced a buddy this weekend at his first 100-mile finish, and the conversations amongst other ultra runners regarding thick boys or flat boys
Pizza
or
rolls.
pizza rolls, like, you are
Yeah.
changing the zeitgeist of ultra running.
And all the chair references and all that other kind of stuff. It was really fun.
We'll get to. I want to ask questions about all those things
Let's do it.
specifically.
Yeah.
Before we do, of course, who are you? Are you
My
Anton?
name is actually Ethan Newberry.
Oh my God, it's me. I pre-recorded this whole thing. So far, I'm sticking with the bit. It's great.
Yeah.
But we do have live questions from the chat room. So throughout tonight's episode, this is going to be super fun. Our guest, Ultrarunning Memes, can provide you with any advice or insight that you might need.
Absolutely.
Tonight, Kim, what do we got?
A lot of very quality questions rolling in tonight.
Top tier.
Top tier questions. First question comes from Rod. Rod says, Ultrarunning Memes, how do you know so much about DNFs? Pro level, it seems.
This cuts deep so soon. Yeah, actually, that's a pretty fair statement. I've got my share of DNFs. I've been known to show up to races as possibly an injured piece of shit or out of shape or whatever it may be, and just think to myself, well, I've finished 100-miler before, and I remember what that was like, and so I'll just kind of follow those same steps, and it'll be fine. It's never fine. So we can talk about some of those fun stories sometime.
Yeah, that's where I'll go, and I want to start by showing a couple of these memes. I realize for our podcast audience, they're going to be like, I can't see anything. That's fine. I'll read them. It'll be the exact same thing. But just for those of you who maybe are not familiar with what this is, it is an Instagram account known as Ultrarunning Memes. If you are an ultra runner, trail runner, road runner, anything, I think you can appreciate these. For example, we have here, this is a recent one. This is me after being asked for the 9,347th time if I've ever run the Barkley by someone with a Netflix account. As someone who has had this question asked of me multiple times, Mom.
Yeah, I think all of our parents, right?
Pretty much all of our parents. I thought that was fantastic. This one, when you want to drop but decide to try to make it to the next aid station, and obviously it's death holding your hand and pulling you into the ocean. These are the kind of things that we're dealing with, and I absolutely love them. I'm going to end, well, not end, but I want to show the first one that Ultrarunning Memes ever posted, and they recently reposted this as well. And at the top, you see the Western States finishing arch, and it says Bachelors. Below that is the Hard Rock, and it has Masters, and then below that is the Barkley Gate, and it's PhD. And it's the perfect joke of Western States is, junior high, Hard Rock is high school, and Barkley is the college level race. How do you know so much about ultras? How do you know these nuanced details? I'm assuming we just talked about 100 miles and stuff like that. Have you been running ultras for a long time?
So that's a great question. So I've been running ultras for probably 6 or so years, but I became very interested in them probably like 14 or 15 years ago. And so you say, well, that's, kind of interesting. Why the big gap there? And it's because I tried to get into ultras and became completely injured for a very long period of time.
Oh.
And honestly, back if you think about 2005, 2006, there wasn't, at least to my knowledge, a wealth of information about the sport. And so I was just kind of going about training and doing whatever I thought I needed to do in my own way based on my prior history in running. And it wasn't really working out too well for me. So ultra running was always in the back of my mind. So really since 2005, I started really following the sport pretty closely. Watching Scott Jurek do his last Western States finish, all that fun stuff, following Hard Rock. Became aware of Barkley. I was very proud before the New York Times article came out.
Sure.
So someone told me about that and I felt really special. So I've been around it for a while, but been running them for about 6 or so years.
And I just love the nuance in the memes. You see, like every day I seem to read something. I'm like, how does he know about this? You find those little details. So are you able to divulge how many ultras you've run and how recently you've run one?
Yeah. So I just ran one 2 weekends ago, just to 50K, kind of get the season started. I've probably run neighborhood of 20 or so. Some of those, of course, being DNFs, learning some lessons along the way. But yeah, it's interesting because I always wanted to do ultras. I was actually a collegiate runner at the Division II level.
It is Sage Canada.
It is actually Sage Canada. Divulge. I can promise you I am much slower than Sage Canada. So anyway, yeah, I always wanted to run them. And so my very first ultra, I kind of just like totally lost patience with the whole, I'm going to train up for this thing and it's going to be epic and I'm going to crush this race. So kind of what I did, what a lot of people do, is I went to a timed race and I was totally out of shape. I was like, 10, 15 pounds extra weight on me. Like I had barely been running all spring. It was just a bad idea, but I cranked out like 34, 35 miles just throughout the course of the day, just taking it real easy. And it was kind of like, okay, I needed to get over that. And now it's time to really start getting into it.
And since you've been in, like you've been
in, yeah, just been grinding, kind of, you go through the tough spells. To your point, the nuances, like possibly anything that could possibly happen to you, like especially during 100 milers, probably happened to me, and it's gone wrong. And people talk about, well, don't do this and don't do that, and you're like, oh, I'll be fine. And well, it's sometimes you have to learn things going your own way.
So here's my breakdown of who Ultrarunning Memes is. Like for me, I knew it wasn't an elite. I knew it wasn't elite.
Are you sure? Because a lot of people have changed their mind and are now sticking on that it's Dylan Bowman.
It could be Dylan Bowman.
Dylan loves guitars. Yeah. My theory though was that it wasn't because of how much knowledge they had about suffering. And most elites that I know rarely talk about that sort of the chair, the whole aspect of the chair and being able to poke fun at themselves and the suffering that happens in the mid to the back of the pack. So for me, I was like, oh, this is a regular person, a regular runner who knows these things. But now I'm like, shit, it's Dylan Bowman. Because Dylan definitely has been around the block, front of the pack. And
I'm just waiting for like a dog to come bounding into the room. And they'll be like, yep.
Do you have any pets, Dylan?
Possibly.
Again, we are live. We have a wonderfully lively audience here with tons of questions. Let's get to a couple of these because some of them are really good.
Yeah, a question from Nathaniel. They ask, can you describe your comedic process? What do you strive for when creating a meme and why?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's funny because, I did a GRL meme, just like my buddy Eamon challenged me. He's like, do a GRL meme. And I was in the middle of making a different meme. And I was just like, I'm just going to throw GRL on this. And I kind of had this long thought process in my mind of what the joke was. And it was sort of like when you're in grade school and you're doing a math problem and the teacher's like, show your work. How did you get from point A to point Z? And I just went from point A to point Z in one meme. And it obviously made no sense. And so
yeah, it was terrible.
It was just bad, And so so when you're making memes, it's all inside of your head. And so you really have to challenge yourself to get outside. And every now and then I'll bounce them off my friends. Like, is this even funny? Like, seriously, tell me if it's not. You know, every now and then, most of the time I just fire them away. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not,
Well, you can see that too. And you self-deprecating side of things is amazing. Like you'll put out one that people are like, what's the joke? Like, what is it? Explain it. You're like, it just didn't hit. Don't worry about it. Move on. There'll be 20 more today. Yeah. Let's get to another live question.
Yeah. A question from A2B2. They asked, you've had several high profile runners follow your account. Which one made you the most starstruck?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So probably the craziest thing was I got a DM one day and I wasn't really paying attention to the account. And just somebody had been following the account. He said, dude, Killian is talking about you on Twitter right now. And I was like, I don't even have a Twitter account. I don't have a Facebook account either. And I said, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, dude, check it out. So open up my Instagram, I look over at my page and all of a sudden I've got like all these hearts from Killian just stacking up. Like he's going back through all my old memes. He's like liking old memes. And then he's talking about it on Twitter. I'm like, this is absolutely insane. I don't think he's been on the account since that day. However, he's been pretty busy, but that was pretty wild just to see that it was relatable to him,
Does he follow you?
He does. Yeah.
Oh, well, then he knows.
He knows. He knows.
I know he just had a baby. Congratulations, Killian and Emily. But I know that he's been, he's scrolling through the Ultrarunning Memes at night in between diaper changes.
He's up late now. He's up late.
That's kind of best of the best. Like having someone like Killian come along and relate and understand and love it. You got the kind of highest profile account following you.
Right.
Everyone
Yeah,
else
it's
compares.
sort of crazy. Yeah.
Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, there's another question from Nathaniel. They asked, in a prior interview, you said ultra runners tend to be overly critical of themselves. Can you elaborate on this aspect, and how does humor play into it?
Oh yeah, that's great. And in some ways, the memes, help myself because, like most of you, if we're ultra runners, most of us are type A. We're competitive with ourselves by nature. We want to keep pushing ourselves, and so I think part of that psychology, is this thing that, well, if I DNF, I failed. If I didn't hit my whatever I wanted to do, 100 miles, I failed. And so, yeah, we tend to be hypercritical. If we try something new that's way outside of our comfort zone and we don't succeed, I think we tend to beat ourselves up forever, for years, for months. And I was certainly guilty of that too. So when I started making the memes, it was almost like a healing process for myself to be like, you know what, it's fine. Like, I'm a normal dude. We all have our failures. So yeah, I think that, I'm not sure if you guys see that as well, but I think a lot of us are that way.
Since we've like opened up with our struggles and talked a lot about, even showed just the days that suck and the moments that are not for prime time, I think people relate to that more than anything.
Right.
You can show them, look at all this success and look how amazing this finish was, and look at this first place finish or top tier whatever podium, but you show them just struggling through the everyday process of running an ultra or trail run or that sort of thing. And I think for me, at least, I'm more I relate to that content far easier and quicker than anything else. So as someone who used to work in graphic design, I look at what you're creating and know the time that is involved in it. I am blown away with the amount of content that you are creating. And listen, I get memes are meant to be quick, dirty. You're not even thinking about it, right? But I know that the process and the creative side of things, it's a lot of work. So when did you realize that it was a lot of work? And do you have a process to help balance your regular life? I'm assuming you have a regular life outside of Ultrarunning Memes. I don't think it pays the bills. But how do you balance all that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. A couple of things there. So I have zero background in graphic design.
It wouldn't help in this case, because it's just so much stuff.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. So I just, kind of learned out of necessity how to layer images over each other, do different stuff on my phone. So everything I do is made 100% on my phone.
Wow.
100% with my fingers. So when I realized, when I really wanted to do some
he has fingers.
All right, so he could be male and he has fingers.
All right, we're good.
Got it.
Sorry.
Good.
We're good. So anyway, yeah, so I just kind of out of necessity. So early on, I found this hilarious picture that said I went to art school and all I got was a boner. It was spray painted on some wall somewhere. And I was like, this is hilarious. And so I challenged myself to take that text and change it into, instead of art school, I went to Western States and all I got was a boner. And so that took me first stab, like an hour to do. And I was like, wow, I just totally wasted an hour of my time, obviously. But through those experiences, I've gotten much, much faster. So kind of my day to day is get up early, run, eat breakfast, have my coffee. And then I usually can crank out a couple memes over some coffee. And it maybe takes me 5 to 10 minutes probably.
That's a relief. Because I know how long it would take me to make these things. Like you'd sit down. For me personally, I'd be analyzing every little line and joke and word.
I'd be like, this is funny to me, but nobody else is going to think it's funny.
Yeah. So you're talking about sometimes you run it by friends and stuff like that. But do you ever stress about it? Is it something that is causing any sort of stress in your regular life? Or is it just so you don't even care that you just can create, post, and forget?
Yeah, no, I think it kind of comes and goes for me. I think I've got a lot of days where it's just flowing, and then especially when the content's good, yeah, I really don't care, and it's getting good reactions and good comments. You may hit a spell. It's just you're a musician and you hit a dry spell for a week or two, and you're not making any great content, and you're like, oh, do I need to keep doing this? For me, to your point, I don't make any money off of this. It's just for fun. So the sheer joy I get is just from people relating to the content. So, to me, I kind of try to challenge myself to, if something's not funny, to next time around think about, well, all right, let's step it up a little bit here.
I also love the relevance. So you'll go through phases of things that are like hyper relevant. Like we were in the middle of watching the Fire Festival documentaries while you are posting Fire Festival memes, and it just was everything was fitting perfectly. How do you stay on top of that?
Like
in
pop
addition,
culture.
pop culture references, ultra running pop culture references. Like how do you stay on top of all of it? You have a staff. I know it.
I wish I did. Yeah, Ultrarunning Memes is hiring everybody. No, but really, yeah, it's challenging. So obviously I watch Netflix like most normal human beings do. I try to run in the morning. I used to run exclusively at night, late at night, and do all my runs then, which wasn't conducive to staying up on stuff. So now I just wake up early and try to keep somewhat abreast of things going on. Every now and then somebody will reach out and say, hey, there's this new documentary. Actually, that's how I found out about Fire. It had just hit Netflix. I hadn't seen it yet. Someone said, you have to watch this. There's so much new material. I said, okay, I'll watch it, later this week and checked it out. And so, yeah, it was fantastic.
Speaking of kind of like the references and pop culture references, you've also created a lot of really wonderful things that are now permeated into the subculture of ultra running. Chair, for example, Vert not being real, for example.
Sweet Release of Death.
Sweet Release of Death. Like all of these things that people are now taking along with them on these ultra runs. There's a great comment in the chat room here from Ingen. There are no hills. You don't work for the FBI. You obviously work for Big Vert, referencing to someone else in the chat room who was talking about that as well.
That's fantastic.
So talk to us a little bit about where these origins come from, like the chair and the spelling of chair and vert and all this sort of stuff. Is there something that comes to mind that sort of inspired these?
Yeah, honestly, everyone's probably a little different, and I'm always amazed at like the things that do catch on, and maybe what doesn't. A lot of it doesn't, obviously. But yeah, like the vert's not real thing. I was watching some Neil deGrasse Tyson, thing, and he's talking about, actually he's arguing against flat Earth, which the whole flat Earth thing is hilarious to me. So I was like, man, this would be so funny if I took his picture and just made a comment about essentially the Earth being flat. And so at the time I was doing some vert training. So I was like, this is hilarious. I'm just out of shape and I'll just make Neil say this quote. And so that's kind of the impetus was that meme. And nothing really happened for a while. So that meme was out there. Every now and then someone would comment, flat Earth, whatever. And then it really took off when I tied in ultra shoes to being flat Earth, and then it just exploded. So it's kind of wild.
You mentioned shoes, and people in the chat room have been mentioning shoes, aka the boys, BOIS.
Maybe we can ask a live question before you get into the boys. It has to do with the boys.
Yep, bring it on. Dovetail on in.
Jackson asked, who do you think will win Boy Madness? I'm very invested.
Oh, man, that is a tough one. I mean, my personal prediction is going to come down between the flat boys and the thick boys. It's just going to be an all-out brawl. I mean, it really is. There's strong support for both. I could see the flat boys inching it out, maybe in overtime. I don't know. We will see.
For those uneducated in what we're referring to, I love that I get to explain this. No, let's let URM explain it. What are the boys?
So the boys started really with Hoka, So, Hoka being obviously an incredibly thick shoe, in meme culture for probably some time, people talk about certain individuals having physical attributes of being thick and that being attractive and these sort of things. So thick being spelled with 2 C's, of course. And so I was just, walking around one day and just popped in my head. And I was like, it would be funny if I tried to challenge Hoka, who unfortunately has like 0 social media presence on Instagram, to actually change their name. So I kind of threw it out there hoping Hoka would respond and be like, this is ridiculous or something, but it sort of caught on. So I think the thick boys probably came first, and then the flat boys came next, and so on and so forth.
This is the one meme that I think like has just stuck with me. I as a gear reviewer, I have to reference and put to the test gear all the time. I can no longer refer to Hokas as Hokas. Like around the house, it's like, can you hand me the thick boy? Can you hand me the flat boy? Can you hand me the Euro boy? It's devastating how much it's altered my lingo. We're gonna put Ultrarunning Memes to the test because of this. The boys, and it's now March Boysness, March Madness, the final boys. I'm done with that. I have beside me a Trader Joe's bag of shoes, aka boys. I am going to allow Ultrarunning Memes to name it if it's already been named, like let us know what it is,
Right.
or name it if it has yet to be named, because I think some of these boys might need a moniker. So let's get him warmed up with maybe some stuff that he's familiar with.
Some familiar stuff.
This is some familiar stuff. What do we got here?
Oh, looks like we got a flat boy there. That's a prime example. Nice and flat for your flat Earth.
That is
no
correct.
vert. Yeah,
Flat
beautiful,
boys.
just beautiful. Oh yeah, there's my thick boy right there. Oh boy, don't get me started. I'm getting excited. I'm getting a little excited.
Of course, the thick boy. These are new, but I think I know what these are.
Oh yeah, so we've got a couple names for these, and people are a little upset with me, I think, because I started out just calling them road shoes, and then I had to give them a boy, so they're grill boys now. You know, when you're out, it's a summer day, Dad's flipping burgers on the grill, you got to put your grill boys on.
Grill boys, love it. All right, now we're gonna get things are getting a little bit more complicated.
Oh.
Oh yes. So these I have not ever officially, I think, memed, and people are upset about that. And my initial meme reference for these was pretty deep, so I call these Umbot boys. If you understand that reference, it's deep.
Oh my god, that's like a double. Oh my god, the Umbot boys. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. All right, I think you have a boy name for these.
Oh yeah, those are the Kohl's boys. You can use your Kohl's Cash to buy those. You get the coupons in the emails. You can save a lot of money. Just walk right in; they're on the shelf. It's beautiful.
Classic Kohl's boys.
Beautiful.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe you have an ultra meme name for these.
Oh yeah. Those are the Shape Up boys, right?
Shape Up boys. That is correct. That is accurate.
Okay.
Definitely don't have one for these. I mean these are a completely different realm. We'll see if we can get a name out of.
I didn't know those were still in our house.
Yeah, they are.
Oh my! Whoa, what do we got going on here? These look like some. Oh goodness! These are extremely hip. Yeah, hold it a little bit.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to see what you can see.
Yeah, these are like these are like the Lumineers boys right here.
Lumineers boys.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to have like a brim hat on. Maybe playing a stand-up bass with these. Very nice.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Here, let's get to what?
No.
I'm gonna save that one for a minute, but this one, we'll see. I think you can get this one.
Oh yeah, nice. That is nice. It got to be some through hike boys. Right? Keep you nice and warm. Support the ankles. Oh yeah. This is like it's legal in my state, boys, right?
Legal in my state, boys. We do live in Washington. They're legal in our state.
Correct.
There you go.
So I don't know if he has one for these.
Yeah, I don't know.
But because they're in my gotta go pile.
Oh goodness, yeah. I'm familiar with these things. They're somewhat of an abomination. It's like I went a little too high tech, boys. It's for the guy that is like, yeah, you've got running shoes, but these are running shoes.
The too far boys.
They went a little too far, boys.
A little too far. Oh wait, no, the last one. This one literally came off Kim's foot. That's why it's a bit of a surprise to all of us.
Perfect. Oh wow, these are some plush boys right here. Yeah, that's like, yeah, I'd run an ultra in those, no doubt. Sheer comfort all day.
I have to give Ultrarunning Memes a round of applause for that. For one, being put on the spot with some of those shoes, but also just nailing it.
And now the burning question. Nathaniel asks, what are Ultrarunning Memes' preferred boys?
Oh, see, that's a great question. So personally, maybe like yourselves, I'm a little boy curious. So I do like my flat boys, my thick boys. I'll even be known to wear some ambassador boys from time to time. I like to mix it up. I'm not afraid to try something new.
Just the amount of brilliance behind all of this. And like in my mind, I'm just thinking the marketing potential. Like I am waiting for a brand to reach out to you to name one of their shoes. Like, has that happened? Have you ever been reached out to by brands or anyone looking to collaborate by any means?
Yeah, I've had a few kind of asked to collaborate, and for me personally, I'm not looking to make really money off this account. So I'm trying to do some giveaways through some brands, which is fun. And so, funny story about ultra running, we did a shirt together, which is a lot of fun for Western states, and did a giveaway on that. And so I was like, talking to Ultra, and I was like, can I get some free shoes? It'd be awesome. Just send me a pair. And the Ultra's response was just classic. It's like, well, if you call our 1-800 helpline, you can get a 10% off code. I was like, serious? Okay.
That was their response?
Yeah. I'm like, that's not even ambassador level. Come
right.
on, guys.
Well, we really appreciate you reaching out. Why don't you call our 1-800 number and talk to an automated machine?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kim.
Carrie in the chat room says, what about the girls?
Oh, see, so I think I've actually had people weigh in on this in the commentary on my memes. So boy is a genderless term. It's for both males and females, or however you identify.
Yeah, it's BOIS. We don't have it written on the screen anywhere, but
right.
Yeah, I believe in meme language, boys is all inclusive.
All inclusive.
Yeah, it by no means is it a one or the other, any of that sort of thing. We again have live questions. People have been chiming in. If you want advice or if you're seeking any of those answers to life's big riddles, now is your chance to ask Ultrarunning Memes, because obviously brilliance. We are in the presence of brilliance. Go ahead, Kim.
We definitely have a question that fits into that category from CB Chappelle. They asked, my toddler had the stomach bug and she was vomiting. My words of comfort were, it really do be like that sometimes. Is this proper parenting?
Honestly, that's a big yes for me. Clearly, you're knocking it out of the park. I can assure you this taught her a life lesson that she'll carry with her for many years. So kudos to you.
Oh, I wanted to ask, who are you?
Sage Bowman.
Oh, yes. Wow. It's Sage Bowman. Lick tie.
Right.
It's all three of them.
It's all three of them.
Sorry, keep going.
Question from Brad. Brad says, how many ideas have you had that you had laughing like crazy, but you decided that you just couldn't post?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely been a few. So my phone is like full of like memes I've never posted, or memes that are like half created, or just like kind of ideas. And sort of a funny quick side story. I had the flu around Christmas time, and I went to like a clinic to go check in, and I couldn't find my insurance card in my wallet. And I was like, oh, well, I have a picture of it on my phone. Is that okay? And they said, sure. So I pull out my photos and start scrolling through, and the admitting nurse is just like so uncomfortable that she's seeing like this ridiculous, camera roll on my iPhone full of memes. And so I looked up and realized that she's just staring at my phone full of memes. And we kind of just looked at each other, and it was just like, all right, we're going to pretend that did not happen.
the randomness and oddity that she must have thought, who is this person? Like, there's no pictures of family. There's just pictures of like stock imagery with white text over the top of it. And what's with all the boys talk? So who are you? You don't have to answer that. Let's get to maybe one more live question. Of course, we have our quickie question quiz, but I also want to find out what's next. Maybe Ultrarunning Memes can clue us into what's the next stage of this development. But go ahead, Kim.
Question from A2B2. They asked, how close have you come to the sweet release of death?
Oh, very close. At least once, if not twice. So in 100 miler, I got hyponatremia from drinking way too much water on a hot day, kind of just a little overdid it. That was pretty scary experience. And then another time, running another long race out in an area with mountain lions, and I was just practically dying, heaving at this point. And my pacer, he said, I don't mean to alarm you. And he's very calm about this. Shine your headlamp over into those trees. And I said, okay. So I did it. And I see three sets of eyes, the reflection shining back at me. And I said, well, what are those? Coyotes or something? And he goes, those are mountain lions.
Oh, God.
I was like, and so they were about 15 feet away from us. And he said, they've been following us for the last hour. So thankfully I survived that close call.
What happened next? I can't. just gloss over the cougar encounter. Did they continue to track you, or did you get to an aid station? Or
thankfully, we made it up the mountain to the aid station, and no one believed us. It was like, well, yeah, they're around here, but I mean, no, you didn't see them. And I was like, well, yeah, we actually did.
Did you strangle one and made the news headlines?
It's possible.
Okay,
it's possible.
I'm figuring it out. I'm whittling it down. I'm also really curious, since you are an ultra runner, you obviously have a lot of experience running ultras. You've been doing that for 6 years. You have, over 20 ultras and stuff like that. What's been one of the worst experiences that you've encountered out there? One of the lowest lows that you can remember?
Yeah, that's so I came into a year where I had a bunch of races planned, paid for all these races, big races. It's going to be an awesome year. And it's January. I'm just crushing training. And I just totally overdo it and like destroy my foot. So I'm just completely injured. It's January. Ugh. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I'll kind of bounce back from this and it'll be fine. And so my first race, my 50 miler, comes up in May, and I've been off for like months. And so I literally trained for 2 weeks and show up to this race. And it was devastating. I mean, muscle cramps the entire time. People were asking me, I'm okay. I'm laying on the side of the trail. I finished, several hours slower than I ever run that distance before. So that was a learning experience.
I know we have some more questions, but I do want to ask this. I'm really curious about what's next. So you've created this account. You're almost a 1 year anniversary, by the way, which a huge congratulations.
This is true. Yeah, thank you.
The amount of work that I know goes into this sort of thing, just keeping up with comments and keeping up with that side of thing. It's especially if it's not a paying job. It's just a lot of work. Right. So congratulations on making it this far in creating an internet phenomenon. But what's next? Are you just going to continue to create memes? Are you looking for that partnership? Do you do giveaways, or are you trying to sell hats? And like, what's the goal with this whole thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And really, there is no goal. So we do have some hats. You may have seen the chair hats that have circulated out. Really, I ordered those just because people were asking me nonstop, like, dude, you have to make a shirt. You have to make a hat. I want to buy it. And so I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do it. So I have some good news for the faithful listeners. The chair hats are back in stock as of tonight. Woo! So yeah, woo. But no, really, collaborations are always fun. I think it's fun to work with other people and both be creative and see what you come up with.
I just got really excited. Where can people find those? What's the website, and where can they get their own hats?
Yeah, if they go to lasthorserunners.com, they will find the shop there. Special surprise, we've got some surprise hats that just hit the shop tonight as well. Bert's Not Real, Thick Boys, and Flat Boys have just hit the shop. Euro Boys will be coming.
Smart this guy is.
I need a Boy Curious hat.
Yeah, Boy Curious may be coming next. We'll see. Get all the logos on there.
By far, one of the most brilliant lines spoken tonight is just the Boy Curious. That's amazing. So yeah, go to lasthorserunners.com. Go see what you can get, because I don't anticipate those staying up there long. I imagine they'll sell out pretty quickly. Yeah,
last time we sold out in like 50 minutes. And so clearly did not order enough. Tried to order more, but probably still didn't order enough. The boys' hats are very limited, so go check those out.
Yeah, John Gardner in the chat room's like, huge announcement on the chair hat inventory. And it kind of took me a second to step back and go, oh my God, we have Ultrarunning Memes on the show, and we're talking about chair hats and Boy Curious phrasing.
It's a huge announcement.
Huge announcement. We're changing Ultra. Changing it. Well, listen, I am such a fan. I didn't even know it existed until you memed Ginger Runner Live. And when someone tagged me in it, I was like, what is this? And then you look at the rest of the pictures and you go, it's brilliant. So you are doing God's work, my friend. You are doing such a wonderful job. Keep it going. Don't stop. I know that is probably easy to say for me, but I know the amount of work. Yeah. So don't stop.
No, I appreciate that. And people reach out to me and tell me the same. And, I'll go through spells where I think, you know what, I'll just close the account because, it is a lot of work at times and it's tough. So when people tell me, we appreciate it and we enjoy it, that makes me keep going for sure.
Just the bonding that we talked about earlier, the bonding that we experienced just this weekend at a typical backyard 100-mile race was like hearing those conversations and hearing people reference those things was like, wow, this really has permeated throughout the sport. And it's such a wonderful thing.
Totally.
Keep digging. into the elites. I know that they all love it. It's all very friendly and fun. It's such a wonderful way to keep our sport lighthearted. Stop taking ourselves so seriously. It's just part of the fun. So really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a first-time guest of Ginger Runner Live, we have a little segment on our show that we do with our first-time guests. It's called Quickie Question Quiz. It's quite simple. All I do is rapid fire through a series of some questions here. I never have counted them fully, but 10-ish questions. When you are ready, give me a thumbs up and we'll just rip on through.
Let's roll.
What was your very first race?
It was a mile when I was in second grade.
Favorite place to run currently?
I have some local trails about 20 minutes from me that I like to spend a lot of time at.
Road or trails?
Oh, trails, of course.
Bucket list race?
Oh, yeah, probably Hard Rock for me.
Favorite running movie?
Oh, great question. Probably Without Limits.
Guilty pleasure TV show?
Does a Fire documentary count?
That counts. That's a guilty pleasure. How many times have you watched it?
I'd say only once, but really though, you've probably seen some of these memes. Peep Show, a British show, ran for like 15 years. Fabulous. Everybody check that out.
Pre-race meal. What's your favorite pre-race meal?
Usually I just eat some toast.
What is your identity? Who are you?
Sage Kennedy.
Sage Kennedy?
Yeah.
Your favorite post-race indulgence?
If they don't have pizza rolls at the race, which very disappointingly, none of the races I've done yet have had pizza rolls, first of all. But no, I like to order a nice large pizza.
There were pizza rolls at Badger.
There were definitely pizza rolls at Badger.
Badger 100, full-on pizza roll. We ziplocked those and took those on the run. It was great.
Yes.
And finally, your current running boys.
Current running boys. So right now I've got some thick boys in a wide width. Not a lot of models coming in wide yet, but they've been working for me. Historically, when I run in thick boys, I'd actually cut the sides of them open as soon as I bought them to just sort of let the pinky toe kind of hang out there. So I don't have to do that as much anymore, which is nice.
Everybody's going to be looking down at people's feet that are wearing thick boys to see if they have their sides cut out now. Is that you?
They're not even going to look at the face anymore. It's just, is that? Well, congratulations. You just passed the quickie quiz.
Yeah, thank you. Hey.
Again, for those who may be uninitiated, can you please let people know where to go to find you, find your memes, find your account where they can have some fun, because that's exactly what it is. Where can they go?
Yeah, so I'm only on Instagram. Currently, I do not have a Facebook account or a Twitter currently, but Ultrarunning Memes on Instagram. Go check us out.
A huge thank you to our guest, Ultrarunning Memes, for joining us on the show tonight. I did not expect to ever say that, but that is what episode 253 is all about. And I loved every second of it. Love this person and what they do for the sport. We are going to do a post show here very soon. If you would like to join us for our after show, you can go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner. For as little as $1 a month, you get to support the channel, support everything we do here. And you get to interact with us in our after shows every single Monday, including our guests and stuff like that. But before we get to our after show, each week now, we'd like to celebrate members of the community who are doing some amazing things in a segment that we call our GR Crew Member of the Week. Our crew member of the week this week is a friend of ours who has been a longtime supporter of the show. He also reached out about crewing and pacing him at his first 100 this last weekend at Badger 100, and he crushed it. He clobbered it. It was really amazing to see. He is a member of this community and a viewer, and to see a member of this community do something like that, finish their 100 in person and watch them go through all the highs and lows and avoid the chair and eat the pizza rolls and do all that good stuff. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. So big shout out to Darren Burris, our good friend who crushed the Badger 100 in Eastern Washington, which is a deceptively difficult 100-mile course.
Yes.
You look on paper, you're like, oh, it's only got 13,000 feet of gain. That should be easy.
Good thing Vert's not real.
Good thing Vert's not real. It was insane. So big shout out to Darren. Congratulations to him and to all who are out there at Badger or a race in their own neck of the woods, and for getting it done. I think that's it. Am I forgetting anything else?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Join us in the after show if you are a Patreon crew member. If you are not, consider joining. We'll be joined by Ultrarunning Memes for a little bit of that. We'll also talk more about the Badger 100 and share some stories from that. Should be fun. Oh, well, maybe we'll even talk a little bit about Barkley because apparently that happened this weekend.
Did it?
Maybe. Thank you, everyone. Get out there, train hard, race harder, and party the hardest. I know I am. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.